Now, one of the other things which also stood out, and I think this is a fantastic feature, and it is all about networking. It's something that was introduced for vSAN storage clusters, or the feature formerly known as vSAN Max. Maybe you can
Mhm.
talk us through what that feature is, because I think this is probably one of the biggest enhancements. Although it doesn't, if you look at the deck, it doesn't look like it, but it's huge in my opinion. So maybe you can talk us through it.
Yeah, I agree with you. This is a big improvement for anybody interested in vSAN storage clusters. So we're introducing a new configuration capability that is specific to vSAN storage clusters, and we refer to it as a network traffic separation feature. But to really sort of explain this properly, I think actually it's worth thinking about how storage I/O communicates between a vSphere cluster and a traditional storage array. In that case, the IOs are transmitted from those vSphere hosts to a storage array using some sort of fabric. And then as it's being written to that storage array, within the enclosure, it's going to sprinkle the data across the various storage devices inside that enclosure. And so it's not using a network or anything like that. It's just using its own system bus. Well, of course, vSAN is a distributed storage system. When we write data, we want to make sure that the data is in a resilient way. So it's going to kind of sprinkle the data across a host. That uses a network, of course. So when we think about that, is that what network traffic separation does is that for each host in the vSAN cluster, it allows you to tag one VM kernel port for that front end connectivity to those vSphere hosts in a vSphere cluster, and then another VM kernel port for the backend traffic that helps make the data resilient, helps rebalance the data, repair data, and so forth. And what that effectively does for the customers is huge, in my opinion. One, it's going to make it much faster. We've seen improvements up to about 25% for vSAN storage clusters when this feature is enabled versus not enabled. It's going to make your network much more efficient because you can ensure that, let's say, if you have a storage cluster that's within a rack, you can make sure that that backend vSAN traffic remains within the top of rack switches. Really important in terms of making sure that you're not oversubscribed on your network spine and so forth. So, and I think lastly too, it's going to make the design of a vSAN storage cluster much more flexible. So if you're limited and maybe introducing some new switching in your environment, but you're really interested in a storage cluster, you can buy a pair of really fast switches, throw them in a rack, use that pair of switches for that storage cluster, and then just feed your north-south traffic to the vSphere hosts, to the top of rack switches. Really nice feature, and I'm really excited about this one.